Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello everyone, this is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the pleasure of having Marc Whitehead, who is a double board certified attorney in both personal injury and Social Security disability law. He dedicates his practice to disability law, specializing in long-term disability, insurance denials, Social Security disability, and veterans disability. He's authored multiple books on the topic of disability benefit claims and litigation. He's based out of Houston, Texas. Marc runs a national practice and has successfully litigated disability claims in 44 states, counting, plus Puerto Rico. And he is the editor and publisher of his bi-monthly newsletter, which I get and I really enjoy, The Successful Barrister, Marketing, Management, and Life Skills That Probably Won't Get You Disbarred. And Marc is an adjunct practice advisor for Atticus, through which he advises and coaches other lawyers on running successful practices. He's a past president of the Houston Trial Lawyers Association and a member of the board of directors of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. And he's actively involved in the AAJ, where he is the past chairman of the insurance law section and also a member of their marketing and practice development committee, among many others. And he generously donates to AAJ as a PAC Eagle, and his firm is an AAJ Leaders Forum member. So Marc, and I've known Marc for years. I've asked him, he's spoke in some of my events at Pilma, and he's been a member of Pilma. I'm not sure even if you are now or not, but I know you have been.
Oh, I am.
Okay. I don't know. I don't keep up with with who actually is unless they call me. But you know, I sure read your stuff, so I enjoy it when I get it. So I asked Marc here today. I want to talk about being coached. I feel like it's the first of the year, and I think lawyers. I just had a conversation yesterday with a lawyer, Marc, who was supposed to be doing some stuff in my gold membership, and he just didn't get it done. And it's funny. I had a conversation with my trainer. I still train even though COVID's on, but I do it through FaceTime. And I was asking him, I said, well, have you picked, he's an individual guy. He just does it individually, not a big Planet Fitness stuff. And I asked him, I said, you get some, first of the year, people trying to lose weight. I said, you get a bunch of new people? He said, no. He said, but I never do. He said, it'll be February. He said, they'll plop down and go to Planet Fitness and these other things for $10, and they've realized that that's not going to make them do it. And they got to have a coach, a trainer, a coach. He said, and then I'll get them. And I said, that is the deal. Some people just can't get it done just because things get in the way, and they got good intentions, but if they don't do it, I mean, it's just they just don't ever get done. So I'm glad we're talking about this today because it's the first of the year, and I think it's an apropos time to talk about it. So let me ask you. I told you what I think, but a little bit anyway. But why do you think it's beneficial for lawyers to seek out a business coach?
Well, I mean, if you just look around the world, I mean, a friend told me, I thought this was profound, that, Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever, Michael Jordan still needed a coach. You can't bring out excellence on your own unless you're just in a very, very rare circumstance. Yeah. A lot of people, like, hey, leading a law firm is simple. Oh, really? So, if you think about what does it take to lead a law firm? I mean, you need to, all you got to do is this. All you got to do is cast your vision. You got to craft and execute your business strategy. You got to develop talent. You've got to allocate resources. You need to set the pace of progress. You got to promote and protect your core values. And then you got to finalize all the difficult decisions. Yeah. And but then there's all the other things you got to do. You got to market the firm. You got to babysit your client. You got to actually do the legal work. I mean, all of a sudden, before you turn around, you're sitting thinking like, holy shit, Batman. I mean, how am I going to have time to do all of this stuff? How do I get all that done? And that's the problem I see with a lot of lawyers out there. I mean, they're going insane with all the pressure they're under. A lot of them will say, Mark, I don't need a coach. I need a therapist. you know, um, and I'm not denigrating therapists. My wife is actually a therapist, so I'm not going to knock the idea, but, but the reason a lot of these lawyers are kind of going insane is because they're letting their law practice drive them insane. And that's really what you need to work on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you need to let it be working for you instead of you working for it,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a complex situation. Now, if you love doing it, and I love doing it, it makes you get up in the morning. But when you have a law firm, I mean, you literally have a tiger by the tail. You can control that tiger, but it takes a little time, a little effort. And I think for a lot of people, it takes some guidance.
Yeah. And I think the bigger you get, the more complex it gets. You would think it would get better because you could scale economies and save money, but I think it actually gets harder. I've seen it in our masterminds. We got 3 levels at Pilma, and the problems that the guys in the 8-figure that are doing over $10 million a year, they got a whole different set of problems than the guys and gals in the middle one or more the small firms. I mean, like small firms, they're just trying to figure out how to get cases and get organized. And like you say, but I just think the biggest mistake is don't try to do everything. I mean, the deal is figure out what you're really good at and do it. If you like to manage. If you like to practice law, hire a good manager. I've always hated managing, Mark, even though I teach a lot of it. I personally hate it. To me, it's hard work. And I've always tried to hire really strong managers in my law firms and here at Pilma that could really do the managing on the day-to-day. I don't like details. I'm terrible at it. I hate technology. I'm terrible at it. But I like the marketing, and I like talking to lawyers, and I like always be on the cutting edge of what's next. I'm more of a visionary. I'm not a detail person, and I know that. So I try to hire people that are. I don't know. What are you more? Do you like to practice law, or do you like to run the business side of it?
So again, that's I'm sort of the opposite of you. Like, I enjoy the management of a practice. I enjoy growing my practice. I mean, we're up to 6, depending on how you count them, 6 to 8 lawyers, and I've got about 40 some odd staff people. And I actually enjoy that. But I know a lot of people who don't. So it's all about thinking, what is it you want out of your practice? What do you want your life to look like?
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I've been doing this for 28 years. I mean, for the first half of my practice, I thought I wanted to, be a litigator. I wanted to be a trial lawyer. I've tried 50 some odd cases to verdict before jury, in the first half of my career. I thought I was hot shit. But then at some point in my life, I realized that I really wasn't really what I enjoyed doing. I really enjoyed growing the business side of it. So, I don't have to be a litigator. I can hire other lawyers to do that. Yeah. But then I know some people that are the exact opposite. That's all they want to do is they want to live in the courtroom. They don't want to deal with the staff. They don't want to deal with the management or anything like that. I'm like, and that's fine too. If that's what you want, as long as you understand that and know that's what you want, well, you can hire the people to do those other things that you don't want to
do. Yeah. See, I like being a leader, but leadership and management is 2 different things, as you know. And I don't really like. I mean, I got where I didn't like practicing law anymore. Some things I like, but I got more thrill out of leading, growth and things like that. I like to grow firms too, but I don't like to manage the growth. I mean, I guess once you get there, I like building things, and then once we get it to the goal, then I get bored, and if I can't grow it, I want to go do something else. I don't know. I've always been that way, and that's a great thing, and that's a terrible thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's sometimes your biggest strengths can be your biggest weaknesses too. I think sometimes, depends on how you use them. But anyway, getting back to coaching, what will a good coach do for you, Mark?
Well, I mentioned a minute ago a therapist. My wife is a therapist, and there's a therapist and a business coach are trying to do the same things for you, but kind of in the opposite direction. A good business coach really focuses on your future. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? Whereas my wife tells me, a good therapist, we have to focus on the past and work out those issues. So, really ultimately what a coach is for is a coach is paid to ask the right questions, and to focus on changing your own behaviors in order to improve your business performance, and to help you, set realistic but achievable goals. Frequently a good coach will, force you to tackle your most difficult issues, the things that you're avoiding doing. And, like I said, even Michael Jordan needed a coach, well, one of Michael Jordan's, weaknesses at one point in his life was he was not the greatest free throw shooter in the world. But, he, by the end of his career, I think he was pretty damn good. And that was a product of direction, and that was a product of coaching. That was a product of somebody leading him and said, hey, Mike, you could be the best ever. But let's work on this. Kind of the thing is like we were just talking about, coach can help you clarify your vision, of what you want your firm to be and how you want your firm to fit your life. In my case, my coach led me to, hey, Mark, you really want to be in the courtroom all the time. So, that's the first thing, you do, as a coach, is you try to look at what the client's vision is, and where do you want to be, what are your goals? What are your plans? How are you going to achieve those goals? And you try to create that roadmap. Let me clarify that. You try to help the client create that roadmap to where they want to be in life. That's one of the key sins of a coach, is you don't want to tell your client what to do. You want to help lead them to make their own decisions about where they want to go. Because it's not you. You're not building your life as a coach. You're helping somebody else find what their vision, what they want. A lot of what I see, a lot of people have a lot of blind spots. I think I used to have a blind spot. Again, I used to think that to be a great lawyer, to run a great firm, you had to be a great litigator. You had to be the guy in the courtroom. And I think that was my own personal blind spot. And ultimately, through the help of some really good coaching, I realized that, that wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be. But I always remember, the coach is there to work for you. And sometimes it's business. Sometimes it's just personal. A lot of the coaching that I do and other people do will really start looking at people's personal lives and how their profession as a lawyer is interacting and impacting their personal life, their family life, their social life.
Yeah.
Other personal goals that they may have, that their profession could either enhance, or sometimes their profession as a lawyer is stunting. So, these are all things that your personal life and your professional life, are inextricably intertwined. So a lot of times, a good coach will have to get involved with that. I remember I had a coach a long time ago, and his first question out of his mouth to me wasn't, hey, what's your practice? What do you do? He goes, Mark, see, you got a wedding ring on there. How's your marriage? And I was kind of stunned by that question. But after we got into it, it made sense. Because what he was really looking at was, are you happy at home? Are there any problems at home that are coming to work, and vice versa? Are there problems at work that you're taking home? Yeah. I still don't think that I would actually ever start as a coach asking that question without the client actually volunteering that information. I think that did still strike me, but it does make a point. Yeah. That your personal life and your professional life are so inextricably intertwined that you kind of have to look at them all as the total package.
Yeah. So what things do you think lawyers could do to improve the fastest that will make the most difference in their practice? What do you think, like one or two things that they should really be doing?
Yeah. So I think the first thing, when we talked about the vision, what do you want your practice to be? I'm going to back up and just give you a little tip that that I like to have people look at. It's what are your 5-year goals? What are your 10-year goals? And write those down. But here's the first thing you got to do about that. How old are you going to be in 5 years? Yeah. How old are you going to be in 10 years? Write that down. How old is your spouse going to be in 5 or 10 years? How old are your kids going to be? Yeah. What if you have like a parent that maybe one day you're going to have to be responsible for? My 80-year-old father-in-law just moved in with us this past month. Hadn't really occurred to me before that, 5 or 10 years ago, that I was going to have an additional family member move in with me. So you want to start there and start thinking about where you want to be in 5 or 10 years. Where do you want it? What do you want on your tombstone? So that's where I would first start. But once you kind of get there and you really want to get to the nuts and bolts of it, I think there's really 4 areas where you could this is sort of the triage method. These are the 4 things that you can dive into real quickly. And you can make drastic improvement really, really fast if you think about it. The first being time and focus management. Time management is sort of an oxymoron. You really can't manage your time. You can only manage yourself. And so really what you're talking about is managing your personal focus. Are you focusing and using your time on the correct things, on the right things? I teach a little segment to my staff on how to create a time template using a calendar. We use Outlook to do it. And just every week, plan your week out. It doesn't have to be an appointment. You can block off time. I need to work on this appeal on this date, or I need some quiet time. I need some planning time. I'm going to block this out. But you basically manage your entire week. But it's all about managing your focus, your internal focus. So you're working on the right things at the right time. So that's the first thing that I think lawyers could make a drastic improvement in. And that's something that you can do immediately, really fast. The second thing is client development or marketing, depending on how you get your business. Obviously, if you don't have a good load of cases, the right type of cases, sort of everything else doesn't seem to matter. But marketing takes time, and it's sort of the first plays into the second. If you can't manage your time and find time to get out there and hustle and drum up business, then you're not going to be able to have a decent caseload of quality cases to work on. So those 2 things in my mind sort of come hand in hand. Even if you get your clients through more like mass marketing or some sort of advertising mechanism, you still have to have the time to look at those cases, to sign those cases up, to convert those leads into actual signed clients. That takes time. So again, time and focus management and marketing, in my mind, go hand in hand. The third thing is you really need to develop a superstar set of staff. Your staff has to be a number 1 people. I don't brag about this and I don't take any pleasure in it, but it's the first of the year. We let 2 C-level employees go right after Christmas. And it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. We've been thinking about it for a long time. We did decide to wait till after Christmas just to get people through the holidays. But they weren't bad people, but they weren't great. And our clients were suffering because of it. And our clients deserve better. And so, we had to let those 2 people go. And again, not that they were horrible, but they were just C-level. And we want nothing but A-level staff members, if we can have it, or at a minimum, at least B-level. But you always have to be looking out and hiring the best staff, and don't drag yourself down with a C-level staffer. They can flourish in another firm better. They're probably not happy being where they're at. You're not happy having a C-level employee. There's some A-level employee that's just wanting to break down your door to come into your office. So you have to create that opportunity to always be improving your staff when necessary.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is once you have a superstar, you better train them, and you better treat them well, and you better give them opportunity to grow. Otherwise, they're going to leave you.
Yeah.
But always looking at opportunities to improve your staff, whether by training them or giving them opportunity to grow, or if absolutely necessary, by replacing them. That's the third thing.
Yeah.
Fourth thing really is just cash flow management. We all, as lawyers, are prone to deal with the squeaky wheel. And you may have, I'm a contingency fee lawyer out there. I may have a case that, my fee might be $5,000, and I have another case where my fee might be $100,000, but the $5,000 case is the squeaky wheel. And I end up spending all my time on that $5,000 case, neglecting the $100,000 case that if I just pushed it a little harder, maybe I could get that case across the finish line. I see that happen a lot. What I like to do with lawyers that I work with is I have them write down their top 10 valued cases in terms of fees. These are your top 10 or top 5, whatever it happens to be. Maybe you have one, I don't know, whatever your number is. But your top cases, and you have to commit to whatever your top cases are, that you're going to spend 80% of your time on those top cases, and 20% of your time are going to be devoted to those second tier, those third tier cases in terms of cash flow.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say you're going to ignore your professional responsibility to all of your clients. You're going to take care of all of your clients professionally and ethically as best you can. But in terms of your time management and your focus management and your cash flow management, you need to commit to spending 80% of your working time that you're committed to working on cases, to those top cases that are going to bring you the most money. And that's really, the best way that you can manage your cash flow. We have a program where we take our smaller cases, and all of our smaller cases are handled by our new attorneys to get them the experience they need. But it also allows our more experienced attorneys to work on the best cases. It's just basic logic. And I see a lot of lawyers who just somehow they just follow the squeaky wheel and don't make that connection.
Yeah. You just said you said a mouthful right there, and I don't know if our listeners understand that, but I mean, listen, you're hitting the foundation. The last thing you talked about, the cash flow. I've burn harness. I'm really big on burn harness right now. Scaling up.
Yes, I've read Scaling Up.
Yeah. So some things he said that just resonated with me when you were talking. Like one thing he says is, no great business, and that means great law firm, was ever built on the back of average employees. You know what I mean? And then another thing there at the end, you were talking about the cash flow is, and he's got this saying is, revenue is for show. No, revenue is for vanity. Profits are for sanity, but cash flow is key. And you were talking about cash flow because that's something that lawyers just don't pay attention to. And, I think you hit on something that not a lot of people talk about, and the other thing, I think you're exactly right about the A players. If you don't give them, you as a leader, if you're a leader in your law firm, your job is to coach those A players. You know what I'm saying? And give them good training and give them opportunities to grow. I think you're right on point, man. I mean, you nailed it. But I think 95% of lawyers out there don't understand that. And, you know, and I read Jack Welch probably, I guess, 20 years ago. I can't remember the name of it. And he did the ABC stuff. And so I started back, gosh, this has been like 2002, 2005. And in a year, my partner and my office manager, we sat down and took every employee and we graded them separately, and then we put them together and see what we agreed on. And if we had any C's, we give them like 30 days, 60 days, and they never rehabilitated. I mean, and then we let them go. And I hated that, but like you said, you got a duty. I think it's not only to your clients, but to your other staff, because they're not pulling their weight, and then that's going to piss off the other people in your office. I mean, people, that brings everything down, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just think it brings the whole level down, because they're going to say, well, they're getting paid probably the same thing I am, and they're doing about half what I do. And here's something else that I found, and it's still hard for lawyers to grasp this. If you get an A player, they'll do as much as 2 C players will. I'm serious, maybe 2.5 times. So even though you got to pay them 1.5 times, or they'll do 1.5 times what a B player will. If you can get them, man, hold on to them. I mean, I'm telling you, because they're hard to find. I mean, you know, I mean, you ain't got to be held hostage, but I mean, if you can get them and you know, within reason, I think you hit on something just really great. I mean, I just think that was, you're on point. So I commend you. You have this ADISCA program is doing good for you, or maybe you're teaching them. I don't know.
Little above.
But so listen, there's there's a lot of different coaches out there. It seems like everybody's in the business now, you know, and that's good. I'm fine with that. But you know, there's some individual coaching, group coaching. Like I got strategic attorney coaches, a group coaching. I used to do some individual coaching. I really don't do much of that anymore. Do a lot of masterminds. I love masterminds, but you know, something we said, we're sitting here talking about all this, but you mentioned it several times, your coach. I've had a mentor or a coach or been in a mastermind for the last 25 years. I mean, and even though I think I know a lot, you don't never know. When you feel like you know it all, you're in trouble. I really believe that. And you have said something else while ago, Mark, that hit me, and I forgot that I didn't want to interrupt you. You can be the smartest person in the world, but when you're inside of something, when you're in the forest, sometimes you can't see the trees for the forest, because you're so involved in it. Even though if you were coaching somebody else in the same situation, you spot it just like that, but it's because you're embellished in it. You know what I'm saying? So you need that sometimes. Even you say, well, I know all that stuff. Well, you might, but you just can't see it sometimes. I'm telling you, I've been there. I've had to call up, you know, and I think I'm pretty smart, but you still need somebody to look at it with fresh eyes that's not involved and got the emotion involved in it, and in the day-to-day rat race, to sit back and look at it, and like you say, ask the right questions, because that is the key. You know, everybody's got answers, but if you don't know the right question, it don't matter, right? So
yeah.
So what do you think about all these different things? I mean, you know.
Well, you know, different types of coaching methods are good for different situations, and you can do more than one at the same time. I do. You know, group coaching is great. I run a group coaching group. And again, one of the 4 core things that we talk about, what I just mentioned, time management, marketing, superstar staff, and cash flow management, are sort of the basis of what our group coaching group is all about. Group coaching is great in the sense that it can be more economical. It can be, you know, kind of a Zoom type thing that we're doing now. You know, and it really it lets you kind of stick your toe in and see what you think about it. Now, of course, you're sort of, anytime you're sort of presenting to a group, you're kind of having to present you know, a broader topic. It's not as specific to your particular practice, you know. And then you have individual coaching, one-on-one coaching, and one-on-one coaching, you know, is really good for exactly what we talked about. Somebody to hold you personally accountable, particularly for getting things done that you don't want to do. You know, if you don't want to fire that secretary that's been around for 15 years that needs firing, you know, maybe that coach will hold you accountable and keep asking you about that. Our individual coaching is really good to find your blind spots and help you develop vision. Masterminds are great because masterminds are typically with other like-minded attorneys, and you're all kind of seeking solutions, and you can all sort of brainstorm best practices, and everybody gives their best stuff. I love masterminds just because I find some of the best friends that I've made in the legal field have come from masterminds. So each of those kind of offers their own different pros and cons. Actually, I don't see a whole lot of cons to any of it, other than typically none of it's free. That's really the only con. But as far as the pros go, they each, focus on slightly different things, and some of them, obviously fit slightly different budgets. But here's the main thing. You get out of it what you put into it. Absolutely. You can do all of this stuff in the world, but if you don't put into it what you should, and if you don't follow through, and if you don't hold yourself accountable, you'll probably learn a few tips and tricks that will be helpful. But for the most part, I think you'll probably be wasting your money.
Yeah.
But if you really go into it with an open mind and understand you don't know what you don't know, and there are things out there that you can learn, and if you commit to the coaching and the follow through on it, and the being held accountable on it, one of my hardest things, I don't exercise that regularly, and I tend to eat poorly, and so my coach, even though she's a business coach, she's also concerned about my physical well-being. So she's got me. I now have a whiteboard on my wall at home. This is at home. And every time it's, set up in a grid, bench press, curl, squats, whatever, cardio. So, and this whiteboard holds 20 workouts. In other words, I write the date and then what I did, what I did. And when I fill that board up, I take a picture of it and I text it to my coach, because she's holding me accountable to that. And I generally have about 6 weeks to fill up that workout board, which holds 20 workouts. And after about 6 weeks, if I don't send her a picture of a filled out workout board, she starts asking me questions, And at first I thought this has nothing to do with business. But then after I got into it, I realized it has everything to do with business, because I'm the product.
Yeah.
And if you don't keep the product healthy, what have you got?
Yeah.
So, but that accountability, somebody to hold you accountable,
that's the key, baby.
Really opened my eyes.
That's the key. And listen, here's the deal. You talk about the cost of money, but if it didn't cost money, they wouldn't. Here's the deal. If you pay bigger money, you're going to do it, because why are you going to waste the money? I mean,
the act of writing that check or letting that charge hit your credit card, that's going to spur your desire to be held accountable, to follow through. If it was free, it's easy to ignore.
Yeah, let me tell you, about 5-6 years ago, I did a mastermind with Jay Abraham, who was like a guru. I don't know if you know him. And it was $50,000. And man, I paid a lot of 20s, 25,000, but I'd never paid 50. And I sat there and thought about it. And we actually had to fly to California 6 times in a year. And I did it. And you know what? I didn't miss a damn meeting. I did not miss a meeting, and I got another group that I've been doing, and it's just a bunch of friends, and we just throw a couple $100 in. Half the people don't show up. Nobody's, there's, because it don't cost anything. If you don't show up, what have you lost? Except the knowledge, and it's an easy way to get out of. So I'm looking at those two extremes. I can tell you that you might not like writing a check, or I didn't like writing the 50,000, but I'm glad I did it. It was worth it. And in the end, and I got everything in it, and I'm not going to waste that money. So I did what he said do. I took his advice.
Yeah.
So, the deal is you've been talking about all this coaching, but man, you're a great marketer. I mean, this magazine you put out, I told you when you first did it and you showed it to me, I said, this is genius. I mean, because it's a great way to get referrals. I mean, you just a really smart marketer, and I appreciate that. What you're doing. So, you've spoken in the past, and I got you again speaking at the summit in June in New Orleans at the Ritz-Carlton. And we want everybody to come out. You just go to pilmasummit.com, check it out. And he's going to be there again sharing that. But if you can't go or whatever, it's got a gift for you. So tell us about the template you use, and then where they can get it at.
Right. So I have, this is every ideal in my marketing plan, which I've turned into a marketing template. I literally have stolen. There's not an original thought in it. I've stolen from you. I've stolen from, probably 100 people out there that I've either masterminded with, or I've coached with, or I just happen to hear, and I write it all down. And what I decided to do was I decided to put it in some sort of organized fashion. And basically what we have created, and I presented this at PILMA, I presented it at AAJ. We're going to do it again, I guess, this summer to one of your groups at PILMA, is I've created a marketing plan and template. And it basically covers my personal 6 strategies. I've basically synthesized everything down into 6 strategies that we use to market our firm. Through that strategy last year, I just looked at our numbers. We generated about 16,000 leads last year, which is a hell of a lot of leads coming in.
Yes, it is.
And the first thing you better do if you're going to generate a lot of leads is you better have an intake department where you can actually answer those phone calls or return those form fills that you get from your website or whatever, and sift through all that you got to mine a lot of coal to find a few diamonds. So you better have a really good intake system and a really good intake staff. I mean, that's actually strategy number 1 of our marketing plan. But our plan covers direct marketing to the public. It covers referral marketing to other attorneys, referral marketing to clients or other individuals, dealing with community outreach, and then some special projects that we do to special markets. And basically what I've done is I've put it all together in about a 50, 60-page document. And it's template. And what I basically offer to everybody is send me an email, and I'll email it to you in a Word format. And the whole point about having it in the Word format is so you can take it and make it your own. You can cut out the parts that don't apply to you. You can fill in the blanks to the parts that do apply to you. Put your name at the top of it, and the next thing you know, you've got a marketing plan all laid out for you.
So what's the email?
My email. So here's the trick. So my mother couldn't spell. She's with this my entire life. I spell Marc with a C. So my email is marc@marcwhitehead.com. And for a few insurance defense lawyers out there, I had to explain to them that it's Marc with a C on both sides of the @ So, but marc@marcwhitehead.com with on both sides of the @ Just send me an email and say, hey, Marc, I heard you. Ken's great. Ken's awesome. I'd like to get a copy of your marketing plan in Word format. I'll be happy to email it to you if you want. I'll put you on my email newsletter. The Successful Barrister, marketing, management, and life skills. It probably won't get you disbarred. No guarantees there.
It's very good. It's very entertaining. It's very entertaining too.
It's meant to be snarky. It's meant to be funny. It occasionally offends people. I've gotten into trouble a few times over it. Just things like that. So take it with the sense of humor and the grain of salt that it was intended. We don't talk about law at all because nobody cares. Lawyers don't care. The last thing in the world you'd want is me to talk about disability law. We talk about marketing, management, life skills. I usually what I like to do is I talk a lot about the best things I've learned from whatever the latest books I've read.
Yeah.
So I'll take a good book, like you mentioned.
Scaling Up.
Scaling Up. Take a book like that, and I kind of summarize it with the best things I've learned out of it and how it would actually apply to a law firm.
Yeah.
That's usually the basis of what I tend to talk about. My marketing director writes a column. I've had you guest column before.
Yeah.
If you would hurry up and guest column again, that would save me an article to write. I'd appreciate it.
See what I can do.
I think I'm on deadline. I think my next deadline is Friday to submit my next article. So you need to hurry up. But send me an email if you want to be on our newsletter list. I enjoy putting it together. I enjoy talking to other lawyers. What I ask everybody, if I send you, this marketing plan, if you think of a great idea that's not included, send me an email, let me know, and I'll put it in there. Because again, none of these ideas are my ideas. This is just stuff that I've collected over the years and stolen from other people. So I'm always looking for new ideas, and there are new things out there. I will tell you, I got nothing in there about Instagram or TikTok or anything like that because I know nothing about it. My kids do, but I know nothing about it. So somebody give me some tips on that, and I'll throw it in there. But I kind of geek out about talking about marketing. It's kind of one of my passions. And I give all my stuff away for free. I don't charge anything for it other than you must swear on your life that you'll send me referrals if you ever get the chance. But other than that, that's all. That's the reason I do it. The reason we do the newsletter and talks like this, and this is all part of our referral marketing to other attorneys.
Yeah.
Most of our business comes from other lawyers. So if I can help other lawyers, with my newsletter or with my marketing plan, or with this podcast, they're likely to refer me a case when they get the chance. So this is all part of the marketing plan. I mean, none of this is just willy-nilly. It's all part of the overall goal. But I enjoy doing it while I'm doing it.
Yeah. And the thing I love about what you're doing is top of mind awareness, because they hear you today, and then 8 months, if they don't hear anything else from you, they might forget you. They remember how good you were, but they won't remember your email address or anything like that, or that you're from Houston. But if you keep sending them that newsletter and it's got good stuff to read, then they're going to keep doing it. And, oh yeah, Mark. Yeah. And then the next time somebody calls up, yeah, I got a long-term disability case. Well, we don't do that. Anybody know anybody? Hey, Mark does it. Hey, well, I don't know his number. Well, go to his, here's his newsletter right over here. Grab it. It's got it on it. So, I mean, I think that's, like I said, I think you're a cool marketer, man. I think you know what you're doing. So good deal. Well, listen, we've run out of time. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you speaking at the PILMA Summit this year in June, and down in New Orleans. What is it? The 22nd through the 25th June. Hopefully COVID will be, I'm not going to say over, but under control. That's what I'm hoping. And if not, we'll figure it out. But I'm pretty sure we're going to do it.
I cannot wait. I want to travel so bad.
I think, I'm hoping. I think we're going to have. We didn't have it last year, but the year before it was the biggest one we ever had. We had about 400 lawyers there, and we're expecting about 500. And it's a good deal. People like you giving practical. It's not the rah stuff. It's definitely not a Tony Robbins show. It's definitely nuts and bolts and practical stuff, and that's what I like. But anyway, thank you so much. And until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Mark.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.